Are you drinking water and still feeling thirsty? Still waking up to pee at night? Still dealing with dry mouth, headaches, leg cramps, constipation, brain fog, and that puffy but dehydrated feeling? Are you doing all the right things? Big bottle, more sips, fewer sodas, yet your body keeps acting like it didn't get the message? Here's the shock. After 60, plain water by itself often doesn't hydrate you the way you think it does. And the crazy part is, the fix is usually not expensive supplements, not fancy alkaline water, not another detox powder. It's a simple add-on that most people ignore. And if you're skipping it, you may be drinking water in a way that practically guarantees you'll keep running to the bathroom while your cells stay underfilled. Most people don't realize how predictable this pattern is. They hear drink more water, so they do. They buy the big tumbler with the time markings. They carry it around like a badge of honor. Some switch to purified water, spring water, electrolyte water, hydrogen water, structured water. Whatever the marketing says is next level. Others cut back because they hate the constant urination, and then they feel guilty because they know they're supposed to hydrate. And in the middle of all that, they blame their bladder, their prostate, their age, or their kidneys. The routine looks logical, popular, and responsible. It just doesn't solve the real problem. Here's the real reason. The drink more plain water approach often fails after 60 because hydration is not just about how much fluid enters your mouth. Hydration is about what fluid actually stays in your bloodstream long enough to be delivered into your cells. And that delivery depends on minerals, especially sodium and potassium, plus a small amount of glucose acting like a transport partner. The better alternative is surprisingly simple. Stop treating water like the whole solution and start treating water like the vehicle. The add-on is tiny, cheap, and boring. In other words, it's biology over marketing. For most older adults, the game changer is adding a pinch of salt plus a squeeze of lemon to water, and in certain cases, pairing that with a small amount of glucose from real food, not a sugary drink, not a sports bottle with fluorescent syrup, just enough to trigger the transport systems your body already uses. Most people don't want to hear salt because they've been trained to fear it. But we're not talking about dumping tablespoons into your diet. We're talking about a pinch. We're talking about helping water move where it's supposed to go, instead of flushing straight through you. Another overlooked factor is absorption at the gut wall. Think of your small intestine like a security gate. Water can move through, yes, but it follows gradients. It follows where solutes go. Your gut uses specialized transporters that pull sodium and glucose into the bloodstream together, and water follows that movement like people following a doorway that just opened. That transporter is basically a coupled delivery system. If you drink plain water with very low minerals, especially if you also eat a low-salt diet, that gate doesn't get the same signal. So the water sloshes through, dilutes things briefly, and your body responds by getting rid of it to protect blood chemistry. This is why you can drink a tall glass and still feel dry 20 minutes later. The better alternative, adding a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon, creates a gentle mineral presence that helps that gate work with you. It's like giving the bouncer a wristband to scan. Suddenly the line moves. And this is why the common method loses effectiveness. People keep increasing the dose, more bottles, more liters, and they just create a bigger traffic jam. More fluid in, more urgency out. The bladder becomes the messenger of the mistake. The key is not forcing volume. The key is improving retention. Another overlooked factor is cellular transport. Your cells are surrounded by membranes, and those membranes act like selective walls. Water doesn't just soak in like a sponge. It moves based on electrolytes and osmotic balance, sodium outside, potassium inside, and the pumps that maintain that balance using ATP, your cellular energy currency. If you're low on key minerals, your cells can't hold on to water properly. You can literally be overwatered in the wrong compartments, puffy ankles, swollen fingers, but still thirsty. What's happening is misdistribution. Plain water can worsen that by diluting sodium and changing the signals that tell the kidneys what to retain. The better alternative supports the sodium-potassium balance, so water ends up inside cells, not just passing through the bloodstream like a visitor who never unpacks. Most people don't realize the kidneys are not trying to ruin your day. They're trying to defend stable sodium levels, stable potassium levels, stable blood pressure, stable nerve function. When you flood the system with low mineral water, the kidneys say, "We're not keeping this, it's diluting the pool." So they dump it. That dumping shows up as frequent urination, especially later in the day. Then people drink less to avoid the bathroom, and the cycle continues. Another overlooked factor is timing. Hydration is not one big event, it's a steady signal. When you drink huge volumes quickly, especially on an empty stomach, you create a spike in blood volume and a dilution of electrolytes. Your body responds with a diuretic effect to normalize it. That's why some people feel like water goes right through them. But when you drink smaller amounts with a pinch of minerals, spaced through the day, your body reads it as a steady replenishment, not an emergency flood. Think of it like watering a plant. A slow drip goes into the soil. A sudden dump runs off the top. And after 60, that timing issue gets louder because hormones that manage fluids, like aldosterone and antidiuretic hormone, don't always respond as sharply as they did at 30. So the margin for error shrinks. The common method of chug and hope becomes less forgiving. The better alternative is gentle, consistent, and aligned with how regulation actually works. Another overlooked factor is nervous system balance. Hydration isn't just a plumbing issue, it's electrical. Your nerves fire using electrolytes. Your heart rhythm depends on them. Your muscles relax and contract using them. If your electrolyte balance is off, your body can interpret that as stress. And when the stress response turns on, more cortisol, more adrenaline, you burn through minerals faster and you lose water faster. You sweat more, you urinate more, you sleep worse. So even if you're drinking, you're leaking. This is why some older adults notice they get palpitations, restless legs, cramps, or anxiety-like sensations when they're trying to be healthy with lots of water and not enough minerals. The key is regulation. The better alternative helps stabilize the electrical environment so your body can calm down and retain. Another overlooked factor is stomach acid and digestion. Many people over 60 have lower stomach acid, whether from age, stress, or medications like proton pump inhibitors. Lower acid changes how you absorb minerals from food, so you can eat healthy but not extract what you need. Then you drink a lot of plain water and dilute the digestive juices even more, and then you wonder why you're bloated, constipated, or feeling heavy after meals. A squeeze of lemon in water can be helpful here, not because lemon is magical, but because it adds a mild acid and a flavor cue that encourages better digestive signaling. Again, biology over marketing. You're not buying a miracle, you're supporting a system. Another overlooked factor is the kidney bladder loop at night. Nocturia, waking up 1, 2, sometimes 3 times, gets blamed on the bladder or the prostate. And yes, anatomy matters, but the hydration pattern matters too. If you spend all day underhydrated at the cellular level, your body gets to evening and tries to correct. You drink more late. Then you get a fluid dump into the bladder while you're trying to sleep. Or you drink plain water and trigger more urine output because electrolytes are low. The better alternative is front-loading hydration earlier with mineral support so the body doesn't chase hydration at night. When retention improves during the day, nighttime urgency often calms down because the system isn't playing catch-up. Now let's make this practical because the whole point is to stop making hydration complicated. One easy method is the morning primer. Within 30 minutes of waking, take 12 to 16 ounces of water with a small pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon. Not a salty drink, just a pinch. Think 1/8 of a teaspoon or less. The goal is to send a signal. We are replenishing, and we're doing it in a way the body can use. A second method is to use it before your first walk or any activity. If you're going to garden, go shopping, or take a brisk 20-minute walk. Have 8 to 12 ounces of this mineral-supported water beforehand. Most people don't realize mild dehydration reduces circulation efficiency, and then they feel tired and blame their age. When hydration is delivered, energy improves because blood volume and cellular function stabilize. A third method is to do a midday reset. Around lunch, do another 10 to 14 ounces. If you're eating a meal with natural potassium, like leafy greens, beans, potatoes, yogurt, or fruit, you're building the sodium-potassium partnership that helps water go into cells. The key is consistency, not intensity. A fourth method is to stop chasing huge bottles at night. Set a soft cutoff. For many people, that's about 2 to 3 hours before bed. You can still sip if you're thirsty, but stop trying to make up for the day in the evening. You're training your bladder to be busy when you want it quiet. A fifth method is to turn it into a routine you don't think about. Make the lemon and salt visible. Put the salt by the kettle or coffee machine so it becomes part of your morning automatic behavior. This is how habits stick. You attach the new thing to an old thing. And a sixth method, for people who sweat a lot or have frequent loose stools, is to include a small amount of glucose from real food at the right time. I'm not telling you to add sugar to water all day, but if you're underfueled, the sodium glucose transporter doesn't work as effectively. A few bites of fruit, a small portion of rice or oats, or even a half slice of toast with breakfast can support the transport process. Again, not a hack, a mechanism. Now, I can already hear the objections. What if you forget? Good. That means you're human. The fix is not willpower, it's design. Keep it simple. 1 mineral-supported glass in the morning. If you only do one, do that one, because the morning sets the baseline. And when the baseline improves, the rest of the day feels easier. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to stop doing the thing that guarantees failure. Tons of plain water with no delivery system. What if digestion is sensitive? Then start smaller. Use less lemon, or skip the lemon and just do the pinch of salt, or use a tiny splash of diluted citrus. The mechanism doesn't require acidity. It requires electrolytes and a steady signal. If you have reflux, you can tailor it. The central idea stays water plus the right partners, not water alone. What if you already tried electrolytes and they didn't help? Most people don't realize many electrolyte products are basically flavored marketing. Some have tiny minerals and lots of sweeteners. Others have huge doses that upset the stomach. And some people take them sporadically, like a rescue, instead of building a baseline. This is why you feel a temporary boost and then it disappears. That boost can be the nervous system reacting to flavor, caffeine, or sweet taste, not true cellular hydration. The better alternative is boring on purpose. It's steady, it's compatible, it's not trying to impress you. What if you think higher dose equals better? That mindset is exactly what keeps people stuck. More is not smarter. More can raise blood pressure in salt-sensitive individuals, irritate the stomach, or create a yo-yo of thirst and urination. The key is a small, consistent dose that supports regulation. Think of it like seasoning food. A pinch makes it work. A dump ruins it. And here's another big one. But my doctor told me to limit salt. If you have heart failure, advanced kidney disease, uncontrolled high blood pressure, or you're on certain medications like diuretics, ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or you've been told to restrict sodium, you need to personalize this. The concept is still correct. Hydration needs minerals, but the dosing and approach must match your situation. In those cases, you can focus more on potassium-rich whole foods and balanced fluids rather than adding salt. The body still runs on electrolytes. It's just that your guardrails are different. Now let's expand the benefits, because hydration done correctly is not just about thirst or the bathroom. When cells are properly hydrated, blood pressure often stabilizes because the body doesn't have to squeeze vessels tight to maintain circulation. When blood pressure stabilizes, headaches often decrease. When blood volume is steadier, the heart doesn't have to work as hard to push blood to the brain, so dizziness and fatigue can improve. When hydration reaches muscle cells, cramps and restless legs calm down because the electrical signaling becomes smoother. When electrolytes are steady, sleep can improve because your nervous system stops firing alert signals at night. And the thing is, hydration affects metabolism too. Enzymes that break down food and produce energy operate in a watery environment. Your mitochondria, the energy factories, depend on proper mineral balance to generate ATP efficiently. When that improves, energy becomes more stable instead of spiking and crashing. When energy stabilizes, cravings often reduce because your brain stops demanding quick fuel. When cravings reduce, weight control becomes easier without feeling like you're constantly fighting yourself. Hydration also touches mood and focus. Neurotransmitters rely on proper ion balance. If the electrical environment is unstable, the brain feels noisy, irritable, anxious, foggy. When hydration and electrolytes are balanced, the signal to noise ratio improves. You feel calmer, not because you relaxed, but because your biology stopped sending false alarms. And yes, it can help urinary comfort in a counterintuitive way. When you stop flooding the bladder with low mineral water that your kidneys are rushing to dump, the urgency often decreases. When urine is too concentrated, it can irritate the bladder lining. When it's too dilute but frequent, it still keeps the bladder activated. The goal is normal, balanced, less drama. Now let's lock in the central claim one more time, because this is the mindset shift. Hydration after 60 is not a volume contest. It's a delivery problem. Plain water is not bad. It's just incomplete for many people. The body isn't impressed by labels. It doesn't care if the bottle says premium, alkaline, or doctor formulated. It responds to biological compatibility. It responds to electrolytes, transporters, and regulation. Supporting beats forcing. Foundation beats hacks. Stop wasting money chasing exotic waters and miracle powders when the mechanism is simple. Stop chasing quick fixes that give you a temporary sensation but don't change cellular hydration. And stop blaming your bladder for doing its job when your strategy keeps triggering it. Adopt the foundation. 1 glass in the morning with a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon, then steady, moderate intake through the day, mostly earlier than later. Make it boring, make it consistent, give it 10 to 14 days and pay attention, not just to thirst, but to energy, sleep, cramps, and nighttime trips. You don't need a new product. You need a better signal. So start there. Drink water like your body actually uses it. And stop relying on the weaker common approach that looks healthy on the outside but keeps you stuck on the inside.